Hey y'all, so we're gonna pick up where we left off yesterday in my favorite place of all of Romans 4 and everything that we talk about Abraham and his faith. It just tells us how. And it is, yes, there is impossibility. Moreover, also, and more importantly, in view of the promise of God. That's the only place that it was possible for Abraham to have a descendant, for Abraham to produce an heir, was when the promise of God was in his view. That's when he could see. That's when he could see his family. And the same thing goes for us. The only place that we can see impossible is when we have the promise of God in front of our eyes. It's when it is in view. And in view of the promise of God, let's keep reading. We're going to dig into in view of the promise of God next week. But with that promise in view, this phrasing is just great. It's such powerful words. He did not vacillate in the sphere of unbelief between two mutually exclusive expectations. And it's okay for you to say, what in the world did she just read? Okay, so Abraham, with the promise of God in full view, he did not vacillate in the sphere of unbelief. Well, this sphere of unbelief is a paradigm, like a framework. It's a place of unbelief. And vacillate is waver or to move back and forth, to alternate or waver between different opinions or beliefs, to be indecisive. Vacillate, one of the synonyms for vacillate was oscillate, like your fan way back in the day when we had fans in our homes. You could press a button and they would oscillate, which means they would turn from side to side, right? Or from front to back, they would turn all the way around. Anyway, that's what oscillate is. Another, this is the visual, is to be like a pendulum swinging from one extreme to the other, to move or travel back and forth between 2 points. So, with the promise of God in view, Abraham did not do this. Abraham did not go back and forth to a place of unbelief. When we keep the author and the finisher of our faith, Creator God, and his words, which we've already read and focused on this week, are spoken with finality. When we keep that in view, we can stay stable and fixed. And let's go back to where all of this started from. And my soul wait only upon God and silently to submit to him, for my hope and expectation are from him. See, Abraham's expectation of an heir was from God. It wasn't from anybody else. God was the basis for Abraham's hope. And so when we have that promise in view, we can stay stable and fixed. And we can say, he only is my rock and my salvation. He is my defense and my fortress. I will not be put to shame, and I will not be moved. But the only place, the only place that we can have that kind of a position is if we have the promise of God in our sights. We have to have view of the promise of God. And when we have view of that promise, we're not going to swing back and forth like a pendulum. because the promise is a yes. Jesus, 1 Corinthians 1:20, Jesus is our yes to every promise. He is not yes and no. He is yes. And when God speaks a word, it's with finality. It is the final word. And we'll pick up here tomorrow. I'll see you then. Bye, y'all.